like this, or going to school or to work going like this. I love Jesus. No, people, that is not sanctity. That is drugs. Okay? So now to prove it is hard to understand sanctity, let us understand the opposite of holiness. On the count of 3, you have to show us what it looks like to be a sinner. Show us what it looks like to be bad. Show us what it looks like to be mean. Show us what it looks like to be rude. Show us what it looks like to be conceited. Show us what it looks like to be angry and fighting all the time. Show us what it looks like to be the opposite of a saint. And there are many images of that. Do you have something? Do you have something? Do you have something? Something bad. Bad, 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 bad. Bad, bad. Do you have something bad? On the count of 3. Ready? And 3, 2, 1. Be sinners! Okay, okay. Stay right here. Look, 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 look. Okay, relax. Let's start with this one here. Look at this. Hoodie. KKK. Alright. Here we go. This one, oh good. This is the sign of disobedience. It was exactly what Adam and Eve did, right? God said, you can eat anything in the garden, just stay away from the forbidden fruit. This is like what your children do. You say, go to your room, brush your teeth, say your prayers, and go to sleep. And they say, nah. That's disobedience. That's good. This one right here. Oh, he's doing drugs. That's what he's doing right here. All right. No. Hold on. There you go. All right. You two and... Okay. Oh, okay. Catwoman. That's what it is right now. Okay. And then this... Are you doing peace or are you smoking pot? Which is it? Oh, I see. Cigarette. And this one here? Okay. He's definitely a good boy. Because in America, in the gangs, it wouldn't look like this. Bang, bang. It would look like this. You gonna die, sucker. That's what it looks like, right? You know what's interesting? Did you notice something? Their idea of holiness was boring. Their idea of evil, different and exciting. Do you know why? We see more evil than we see good. We do not have examples of living holiness, which is why I'm going to tell you how a saint really looks like. So I want you to lock arms, and I'm going to teach you the definition of holiness. The word holiness comes from the Latin verb, sancire. Sancire. The verb, sanctus. You heard of this before? So, in Latin, sanctus, sanctus, sanctus Dominus Deus Sabaoth. That means holiness. But it comes from the verb sancire. And the verb sancire means to cut, to tear, to separate. God said, keep holy the Sabbath day. There are 7 days in the week. Desire of God to make us all into saints. But in order for me to do that, I can only do it one at a time. In other words, just because you're Catholic doesn't mean you are a saint. It requires you to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. It requires you to know Him individually, not just collectively. And I love them. But as God, I can only make them a saint, one at a time. So let's just pretend that I am God, and Guillermo and all of his friends are going to hell. But I I want to save you, Guillermo. But the problem is, don't let him go. Okay? Hold on to him as tight as you can. Watch how difficult it is to be a saint. Guillermo, I am God. I want you to become a saint. What does Guillermo have to do? Guillermo, what do you do? Come on, reach out. Give me your hand. Give me your hand, Guillermo. Okay? Come, Guillermo. Guillermo, come. It is impossible. This is an analogy, an example of our spiritual lives. We feel a call to become saints, but we have so much evil attached to us. But here's what it really looks like. Stay together. Stay together. Ready? Come with me, Ignacio. Okay. Now, Guillermo, I want you to become a saint. What do you have to do to become a saint? Try hard. No, no, no. I'm not taking your evil friends with you. I want you to try to struggle to get out. Okay, come on. Guillermo, come. I'm God. I'm calling you. Do you see? This is impossible. It is impossible for a man who is a sinner to become a saint. And so the only thing Guillermo can do to become a saint is to cry out from the depth of his soul, from the bottom of his heart. How do you say, "Save me, God," in Spanish? How do you say it? E.T. Keep going. No, no, here you go. Even the finger, even the pointing. Boom, right there. Do you know where this came from? The Sistine Chapel. This is what a saint looks like. Watch what God will do. Allow him. Stop. Now look at what Guillermo has become. Guillermo has now become a bridge. Remember what I said about bridge in the beginning? If you want to win the battle, protect the bridge. And what is the word for bridge in Latin? Pontiff. The same word to describe the Pope. The Holy Roman Pontiff. The great bridge builder. The Pope is bound to God, but always reaching out to sinners. And that is why holiness looks difficult, because you have one hand connected to God, the other hand is always reaching out to the sinner. And if you are a good saint, guess what will happen? Stay together, kids. Listens to each other. Because if the food is good, you must listen to each other. Because you cannot talk with your mouth full. So make good food. That is the invitation. As Jesus invited people to his dinner, so you must ask yourself, what is the gift that God gave to me and only me, so that I can use it to invite others? In the same way that Guillermo had to make his invitation beautiful. If Guillermo's invitation sounded like this, "You better come to church or you're going to go to hell," then what would the next saint do? I don't want to go to church with you then. If you're going to look angry all the time, I don't want to have anything to do with it. But if Guillermo said, "Church is beautiful. It has given me meaning. I now have focus. I'm still a human and I struggle with temptation and I struggle with life, but I have hope and goodness." Would you like that too?
Agus in anam nef in the Trinoide,
and in the holy name of the Trinity.
Banik Shay, May
He blessed me.
Ismichak,
My family,
Moni,
my cattle,
Ismaguina,
and my people.
Stort on Fwisho, is Exshine.
And the lark said as she sang,
Or Minnick, Minnick, a Hagan Crease de Reapt on Strashem.
often, Christ comes in the form of a stranger.